Wonderful. Okay. You think by now I'd be a pro at Zoom, but okay. Well, yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm going to keep this quick. I know everybody's probably hungry for lunch. I'm really honored to be a part of today's gathering. And I'm going to talk about the role of resilience in my practice as an outdoor visual artist. So my name is Klara Maisch. I'm from Fairbanks, Alaska, and I specialize in painting outside well on location. Last summer, I was lucky to participate in an art and stewardship program called Voices of the Wilderness, and that's supported in part by the Prince William Sound Stewardship Foundation and hosted by the U.S. Forest Service. So in June of last year, I joined Wilderness Rangers Barbara, Tim, and Ellen to visit Nellie Juan College Fiord Wilderness study area for 12 days. And I was just absolutely mesmerized by the mating habits of black oyster catchers. I got to paint tidewater glaciers and just really immerse myself in this incredible landscape. And what I learned is that the story of this place is so complex. It's forever changed by the ongoing impacts of colonization, resource extraction, and climate change. But I also learned that there's a whole lot of resilience, reconciliation, and creative adaptation that's happening in this place. So the chance to visit Nellie Juan College Fiord really deepened my understanding of the history and processes that shape this landscape. And I'm so grateful to have had the opportunity to be a visitor. So making art on location is a way of connecting deeply with place. It's a way to immerse yourself in your surroundings, interact directly with the land, waters, and fellow inhabitants. And it's a form of visual storytelling. As a visual communicator, making art is how I'm able to form memories and better understand and share the story of a specific location. Place-based painting is rewarding, but it's not always easy, and it takes perseverance to work through all weather conditions. I arrived in Nellie Juan fully prepared to paint under a tarp and in the pouring rain. This photo shows the kind of weather that I experienced instead, so that was very unexpected. One of the first things I noticed when I started this painting of Derrickson Bay was how the land was literally leaving a mark on the canvas. As the rock warmed up in the afternoon sun, the qualities of the paint changed and it started to dry faster. And I also saw that the texture of the rock was working its way right into the brushstrokes of the painting. So resilience comes through noticing and adapting to these small shifts in our surroundings. While painting on location, I'm fully immersed in what I see, hear, and feel. So these are birds that I saw in less than 5 minutes of painting near Derrickson Bay. So I took these screenshots. This is a new thing I've been doing as I learn my birds. I took these screenshots on my phone as a way of quickly noting these observations. So I get a little timestamp of when I saw the bird. And as you can imagine, I had a lot of screenshots at the end of this 12-day trip. And this was one of the coolest experiences of this trip, was just really paying attention to listening and seeing these birds. And actually one of the most awesome experiences was when I was painting, I heard a rufous hummingbird, like the sound of its wings hovering behind me before it then flew right around in front of my face, probably like 2 feet from my face. And this little vibrating bird, I just never have had such a good look at one just right there. And I still can't believe that that little bird migrates up to, I think it's like 4,000 miles every year to get to Alaska for the summer. So talk about tenacity. So what happens when you leave a place, when you're no longer immersed in it? Art is a way to stay connected, to share with others, and to maintain memory. This might not work. I do have a little video here. I did challenge myself on this trip to create a video as a way to document and sort of share the story of this landscape through the lens of art. So we'll see if it plays. So making art on location is a way of coping with change. It gives space to sit in our time and place. It requires constant adaptation and problem solving, and fosters a curiosity for the unknown. This painting is called Where the Glacier Was. Oh, sorry. I'm just losing I want to make sure I'm still on Zoom here. I think the video kind of messed with me. So this painting is called Where the Glacier Was. It's pretty well known that Alaska and tidewater glaciers undergo cycles of slow advance and retreat. However, the rapid and sustained retreat of tidewater glaciers in Prince William Sound is one of the most striking visuals of climate change. From the perspective of this painting, you can actually see Nellie Juan Glacier just in the distance, and the lagoon area represents where the glacier used to be. So everywhere that you can see water was actually glacier ice as recently as the 1930s, or about 90 years ago. Painting this view was a way for me to sort of sit in this time and place, to feel it, to let it be big and kind of daunting and sometimes sad, but it is also this way to show that change is a constant, it's beautiful, and that there are many incredible examples of resilience happening here. And you can see that in the shape of the hemlock and the patterns of the mosses that cling to the rock, and even in the birds who inhabit the relatively new, willow stands that line the lagoon where the glacier used to be. Painting is also a way to ground myself by focusing on the details, to sort of just feel everything in motion and to align myself with the movements of a specific landscape. We'll see, this is the second video I have, and quite possibly might not work, but we'll see if it does. When I set up a painting location, I pay attention to the conditions, to the prevailing winds, to shifts in the light, and anything that might signal a shift in weather. As an interior Alaskan, the cycles of tides were a fun new learning curve for me on this trip. Here the tide was rising as I was painting a beached iceberg, and that rising tide gave a whole new sense of urgency to the mark making, never mind the fact that the ice was literally melting and shifting before my eyes. So making art like this requires flexibility and problem solving. I think one of the biggest lessons art has taught me is to lean into curiosity. In simple terms, curiosity means that there's something you don't know that you want to know more about. And curiosity can be huge, like, will this island still be here in another 100 years? Or it can be tiny, like, how can I visually represent that beautiful curve of the beach just with paint? Sometimes our curiosity is satisfied, but more often than not, curiosity leads to more questions and threads to pull at. So be tenacious with your curiosity. And lastly, I just want to talk about how art can foster resilience through connection, accessible communication, and hope and reciprocity. The idea of an interdisciplinary approach is probably a familiar concept to many of you, but I find this framework is really helpful for thinking about different styles of collaboration, connection, and communication. On the left, we have an idea that's being worked on by one discipline, and on the right, the far right of the screen, we have a transdisciplinary approach, which is defined by this transcending of disciplinary boundaries. It means we're sharing our knowledge and skills, there's equal decision-making power, and there's intentional inclusion of all stakeholders. Listening to today's presentations, I see a multitude of different perspectives coming together and being represented, and I think that this is what allows us to think together and creatively problem solve. And it's also what connects us, as a community who cares about this same place. And art translates and communicates through a different language. It helps us, feel connected, whether this is through the passing down of stories, visual art, music, performance-based arts, or beyond. Art makes us feel, it challenges us, it makes us cry, it gives us joy. It's a way to celebrate our commonality. And regardless of the feeling that art might give you or not give you, well, usually it gives you some kind of emotional response. And I think that building emotional resilience is a key piece of adapting to the changes that we're seeing in our surroundings. And finally, art is one of the main ways that I'm able to show care for the places that I get to experience and the gifts of deep connection that they provide. The people I met on this trip gave me an incredible sense of hope for the present day and future stewardship of Prince William Sound. And this hope is why I engage and continue to press for change within these systems that we all live, work, and play. And I hope that was a fun and quick glimpse into how art can be a tool for connecting people with place, for coping with change, and for practicing perseverance. So thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Klara. A question for Klara? Yeah. Bob.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, my dear friends. I'm seeing some lovely comments in the chat. There's so many awesome artists who are here today. And yeah, that's a big grin on my face.
Klara, one comment, question from Bob Ludden herself.
Hey, Klara, what a great presentation. Thank you. We were so excited to have you be our artist in residence last summer. You were just fantastic to work with. You're extremely talented artist, but you're just a stellar field partner. So thank you. And I wanted to let you know that your painting that you donated to the Forest Service is here and will be on display right around lunchtime. So we just want to make sure that's safely from the car to the building without getting rained on. It already survived getting out of the house without getting rained on. So thank you, Klara.
Thank you so much, Barbara.